Oh, Twitter. We're good. All right, welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News. This week, I think it's just Twitter. It's not going. Welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News this week. Man, it's a crazy week this week, right?
I feel like we're still on the race.
Have you caught up on sleep? I haven't.
No, what was it, the 18 hours of Langley?
Yeah,
Somebody said earlier.
The 2-day special.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy weekend, but it was a successful weekend. I got to thank, let's thank our marketing partners. Got to thank S&N Communications, Fast Eddie's Barbecue, which I thought he teased us or something.
Yeah. I think
Or he's playing a dirty joke on us.
Yeah, I think I was looking for pizza. I mean,
or maybe it's this next week.
There he is. First one in the chat.
Probably.
Right on cue.
What's up, Eddie? Papa John's Pizza. Dotson 25 for your 25% off code. Online only. Let's see. Mayhem Company. I think RDS was running pretty good this weekend. Got to give a shout out to the 9-car. Aiden Millett. I mean, he really had a really good run going. I don't know what happened there close to the end, but had a good run going. Mean Dean Automotive with Grier and Associates in there, and I appreciate you.
I got it.
Put it there.
Go ahead, Jack.
what? He knows.
Oh, yeah.
Moya. I got to think Gator Graphics, little Sammy, Southampton Motor Speedway. I think
who has a special race going on in a week or two. They're going to do circle drags, which is
okay.
moving to that other thing we were talking about one time before. So we'll see how that works.
Mosquito Joe's, get 50% off on your first months with Mosquito Joe's. Just drop the racetrack or Jack's name. Waltrip Pressure Washing Solutions. Turn 2 Synthetics, your local AMSOIL dealer. Safety Clean. Performance Plus Motor Oil. Man, I got to think Langley Speedway, Bill, Chuck, and Terry. Terry's the head honcho.
Yeah,
let's just put it out there. She's the boss.
Yeah, she's the boss. They all know it too.
Yes. Bonders Brothers Distillery, MPM Marketing, Black Acid Racing Apparel. Got to thank them for doing our. And we're still waiting on one suit, but Chris got his suit. He seems to be really happy with his custom suit. Slinger Speed Company. If you want your local T-shirt guy, hit Tim Brown up for Slinger Speed, or Langley Speedway official T-shirt guy, I think.
Yes.
Factory Canopies and Fluid Logic. Did you ever get? I know we were supposed to have Todd and
I have sent them messages and got nothing in return.
VA 811. I think GAC, Great American Company, been with us a long time and appreciate their support. What's up, Eddie? The 30. Oh, the 30th.
Yeah.
You was right, Jack.
I was right.
but he
said he probably
put a hook in us, and
he said I probably confused you earlier.
He did. You did. It didn't take much to confuse us. We got excited. What's up, Basil?
The waterman, Basil, down in that water, pulling that stuff and putting that thing in there. I mean,
I don't even know what the hell he was doing.
He was the hero of Saturday Night, man.
It was cool.
Don't blow his head.
Did you watch him out here during the race? Out here in the front.
I think pictures.
He's
video.
out here getting the fans fired up. He's going like this, and he's trying to line them up. He's throwing his hands up, trying to get everybody
before qualifying.
During the race too.
During the race, I can see that.
What's up, Melissa? Miss Shiflett, just in Moyoc.
That's Miss Shiflett in that place.
In that place, yeah.
Sorry not to say it.
No, I take that back. That's the wrong sister, I think.
So, Jack.
All right, let's do what little bit of news there is in the Cup Series this past weekend. Kyle Larson got the win.
Yellow flag won the race.
Golden boy.
Golden boy.
Yeah, they called him Golden Boy.
It sure seemed pretty blatant to me.
And then he turned around and then he went.
Talking about promoting going to Indy next year.
Thank NASCAR. Thank you, NASCAR.
Well, I mean,
Oh, he tweeted.
he
tweeted, "Thank you, NASCAR.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, guys," or something.
well, I probably would too.
they did wait an awful long time to throw that caution, and
You think?
when they threw the caution, it was over. So I mean, I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say they give it to him.
You're not going to throw our local Elton Sawyer under the bus?
No, but there was
Well, I
a
don't
whole
think
lot.
that's Elton's call, but
There's a whole lot of
I know
people
he's
talking
involved.
trash about NASCAR and Elton Sawyer after the race. In the Xfinity Series, Riley Herbst got the win. And hey, can you believe it? Cole Custer finished second. 1-2 for Stuart Haas in that race.
man, that last lap or 2 laps was crazy. We were watching it from up here.
Yeah, I saw it twice.
yeah. Jack's program wasn't fast enough. It was 5 laps behind.
Ty Majeski got the truck win that night, that Friday night. In the ARCA race, Connor Zilic got the win over at IRP. In the ASA Stars race, Kyle Steckley got the win. That was in Mobile. And up at Chemung, New York, in the Race of Champions Superstocks, our buddy Garrett Zacharias got the win. I think it's his first win this year, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of unusual for him.
So anyway, Cole Custer has finally been announced as the new driver in the Cup car for Haas Factory, the Haas Factory team, and he's going to be their driver. But they still have 2 Xfinity cars. Not sure who's going in the Xfinity cars. But they want to keep Riley Hurt if he'll stay.
Yeah, I heard he might be
He may be gone too. And then I
to a
understand.
Cup route, I think.
And then I understand they're also looking at Haley Deegan.
I was going to say, that was the other thing I've heard, that Haley might be. She needs a good opportunity, but I think she needs to listen to the people, get good advice. And we had heard some stories way back before she decided to do this Ford deal and stay in the Toyota camp. And they told her, you need to stay and you're going too fast. And this is what's happened.
And they called up with her. Anyway, so that's about all the news. But now let's go to Adam Wellbrock with his pit road roundup. I mean, you were down there busy.
Sunday morning pit road roundup.
You were running all up and down. I saw you going back and forth. I was up
How
here.
many steps did you get in?
Boy, let's look. It was good to have Buck here. Buck was
Yeah.
he had half a pit road, but man, that was something else.
So did y'all divide pit road up? He done
Yeah.
one half and you did the other
We
half?
split it at about the start finish line. I got about 13,000 steps in
Wow.
Saturday and Sunday.
That's
How many did you get in, Jack?
Maybe 100. Maybe 100. I rode around with you on the
I
golf.
was gonna say, yeah, we do all our work.
I rode around with you on the golf cart, and then I came up here to sit down.
So there you go, 500.
I mean, we talked about it last week, Connor and Brendan.
Yeah,
We knew that was going to be a factor, and sure enough, they delivered.
man. I mean, what an exciting! How many times did y'all pass the mic sort of each other's last?
Gosh, 6 laps or whatever it was.
I mean, it was.
Changed every lap, I think.
It was.
I mean, you could tell that. Well, they race each other a lot harder than they race everybody else.
Yeah, especially here.
Yes. It was like they, each of them wanted to show their dominance. I'm the Gatling. I'm the Gatling. And we all benefiting from these guys racing so hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did think it was kind of funny to see the comment that Bubba Pollard put out there that he wasn't a fan of the 03,
Oh, yeah.
which is kind of, it was a little surprise for me.
Well, Landon Huffman, I think, stood up for him. So that was cool.
Oh,
But-
did he?
but-
Yeah.
But you got to look at it. Connor was a little disappointed after that race. Disappointed to the point of being mad a little bit.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that was,
Yeah.
but you got to look at the Langley Speedway drivers
Mm-hmm.
in that race that are normal, regular Langley Speedway drivers. I mean, we had some, Riley Music, Aiden Millette, Jacob
Yeah.
Derrick.
Mark, I thought Mark. I mean, the first.
Mark was,
head and shoulders above.
I mean, I thought he was just playing with the guys the first 100 laps because he fell back, drove back up, took the lead before the halfway break.
okay. All right, Adam, you're down there and you know what's going on down there most of the time.
Sat on the pole.
most of the time.
So tell us what the deal was between Mark Worth and Brendan. They got Mark so upset.
Brendan or Riley.
It was Riley.
Riley, yeah,
Yeah.
Riley.
Yeah, something about Riley. They were fighting off of 4, and Mark doored him for something. Riley wasn't sure what he did, and then he's under caution flipping him off. So I don't know what the deal was. I was talking to his mom, and she wasn't exactly sure. Riley had took off to the bathroom, and he was just trying to avoid him. I mean, he was yelling. I'm like, what are you? You got the fastest car. You're leading the race. I mean, you were saving tires. What are you so mad for? But yeah, he said it was no big deal. So we'll never know, man.
He was definitely wild up.
I don't know who to believe, but I was shocked. I was like, what the heck's going on here?
Mm.
But yeah, so they're just racing hard, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, it cost Mark that we get there for a little few minutes. He dropped back like 4th, but he worked his way
I
back
thought
up.
something was wrong.
I did too.
We
'cause
did
he was-
too.
Mm.
Everybody thought, well, I think up here, I heard Brian say somebody they thought it was something wrong with the car.
Because I looked in with the team and they're shaking their heads, and Carly's got her head in her hands like this, and I'm like, oh, something.
But then next thing I know, he's working his way right back to the front. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Well, it's like he rode back there 3rd or 4th there,
Yeah.
and then was like, all right, I'm gonna go back and take the lead, and just drove right back up to the front, took the lead from the 9.
Like
And
he was sitting still.
but
yeah.
the funny thing is, it's kind of funny to watch. The race started out, and all of a sudden I see Connor and Brendan start moving moving back like they normally do.
Mhm.
They were together the whole race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they moved back, and then I looked up, and here come the 9 was coming to the front, and then Riley came to the front. I said, man,
I don't know where Riley started, but Aiden started 26th and drove to the lead by lap 60.
he was
Well, he was like 2nd or 3rd. He was in the top 5
a lot of the race.
very quickly in the 15 laps maybe. But when everybody's running 17 or almost 18-second laps,
Yeah.
it's easy to do drive on the outside if you want to burn the tires up.
Yeah. Anybody that wanted to go outside, they let them have it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, tell us about the support races.
well, for people that miss the support races, y'all miss
Like
big
Jack.
races, like Jack.
Oh no, I watched it. I watched it on the way home. I put my phone.
to you,
There you go.
I was listening. I was going down the road, but I won't gonna stay here until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. The first race was the Super Streets,
Mhm.
and that race was pretty good. Went by kind of quick. Landon Abbott won. I think he's 3 for 3 this year. So
Yes,
he's
he
doing pretty
is.
well.
Yeah. I think so. No, I don't know if he sat on the pole and
Yes, he
everyone.
did.
I think he did.
I know he did Saturday. I don't know if the other ones he did.
Yeah.
Um,
I think he did. I think he did it. Well, at least one of them. I know he did.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dale was catching him there, and then the yellow kind of helped him. He said so. A couple laps to go, the yellow came out. Dale was second in the trucks. Bill Wallace.
Man, how cool was that? I didn't get to see it. I was down there, but I would have went to Victory Lane, but I didn't realize he had won.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that? I mean, he's got to be
He said it's been
close to the oldest guy here.
one of them. He said it'd been 20 years since you last won a race.
Yeah, I think I've seen you
2004.
posting. Yeah,
That was an awesome. That was an awesome race.
I mean, he's been fast.
yeah.
Just they've had some tough luck, and they put a new motor in it.
And Rick Powell's big motor didn't help him. So
We'll see. Bill got a bigger motor.
hey, look, who won that Pro 6 race?
Somebody named Travis Wall, I never heard of him.
It's funny. People are kind of, I guess, getting tired of seeing Travis win. And a lot of, I got some people saying, like, what's he doing? What is he cheating? I don't think Travis is cheating. Travis is good. He's a good driver, and he's pretty good at working on race cars. And I think the people that have come in, when I first got into Pro 6, we had Bobby Hall, we had the Sipes brothers, or the uncle and nephew. We had a lot of other fast cars. and this new people have kind of come in, and they really haven't gotten fast or faster, you know. And I think that's where the big disparity is. So then it's been easy for him to do.
Well, Trey was good for about 25 laps,
Mm-hmm.
and then he started or for about 20 laps, and then started to fall off the last 5 or 6. So they're getting that car dialed in. I know they've had problems with it this year,
Mm-hmm.
but they're fast, so I think they should be proud. But yeah, Travis he's got something figured out, man.
Yeah, he's
I call him Mr. Pro 6.
Yeah, for sure.
Mr.
Probably like
We ought
4
to
or
call
5
him the-
years in a row.
the Pro 6.
And hardly anybody else has won a race.
So we, of course, we do the driver of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who the driver of the week this week is?
Gotta be Bill Wallace.
I was gonna say Butterbean.
Or about everything.
It's Bill Wallace. Bill Wallace, I mean, he tripled the votes.
I don't think anybody was sad about seeing him win, right?
Yeah.
I think everybody was super happy to see him win. It was so cool.
Right.
Older folks need their rest. Yeah.
All right. We also did a thing on Facebook about who was,
Said people should help fund Travis late model ride.
so anyway, we did a thing about who's your pick to win the
Mhm.
Hampton Heat. We had about 5 people pick Brendan. And we're gonna put their names in the hat, and the winner gets the pizza, the hat, and a T-shirt. So I would read them all off, but I guess there's no need in that. But anyway.
No, one needs to be read.
All right. Get up here. Get up here. Get up here.
Yeah, make sure that we ain't cheating.
Ain't cheating. We're not doing it.
Cheating.
We ain't
Show
cheating.
your hands.
All right, now. Only one. Okay? One person.
Don't look.
Yeah, don't look at the plane. Just pick one. All right? Now give it to me. I don't want you to be. Mason Verdes.
Okay.
He got the
Well,
win. So that's who got the win.
Then pick any.
He's Jim Bennett's grandson.
Huh?
It's Jim Bennett's grandson.
Okay.
I think he runs
Enduros.
Enduros, yeah. And he runs Super Street some or not?
I don't think so.
Or
Maybe
it's in the
here and
plan
there.
or something.
Okay.
All right, and I will get
What's up,
with
Aaron?
him. I will get with him and get situated, and we'll get that taken care of. So, all right, we're gonna get to you in just a minute.
We'll talk about Dale Jr. about the race, or
Well, he was here.
Yeah.
He came to race here.
he did, but I
He raced, and then he had steaks and beer till 4 a.m.
Yes.
I didn't get any steaks or beer. Did you get any?
No, there was a few people did. I mean, he hung out with everybody, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I got to give him a shout out for putting the spotlight on our racetrack for one, and then being such a down to earth person. There's several people that always wanted to meet him. He was very courteous to everybody that came over, signed their stuff, took a picture, and hung out after the race was over. He did not leave.
Nope.
They cooked right behind the pit box, and I mean the food smelled delicious. and hung out and drank beer and shot the shit with everybody.
Yeah.
Till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and helped load the truck up.
And then went over and got in his camper. They said he slept about an hour and a half, and then he left. So, that's needless to say, he ate good while he was here.
He did. Yeah.
Because Bill took him out. Bill took him out to eat. And they
Got
all
some
went,
seafood.
yeah.
I'm sure they went to Pocosin
Surprise.
Surfer. Yeah.
Some
Used to be called Bubba's back in the day.
So anyway, that's where they went and had a big time. All right, let's get Steven on here. I know he's got some stuff going on.
What's up, Steven? How you doing, man?
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
We're
Good.
doing good. How are you?
Oh, living the dream. Can't complain. It's another day in paradise. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you something. I watched the race. I think it was Pocono you were in, right? Pocono?
Yep, doubleheader. Did the trucks
Right,
on Friday,
right.
did he Saturday?
You have an unusual story. And I picked up on it real quick, and I said, look,
That's
talk
pretty
to this guy.
impressive because
I
usually
want-
he's slow.
I want to talk to this guy. And of course, you can't, the TV couldn't, I mean, they just played it up big time, the whole
Yeah.
race nearby. So, all right, now let's go with the first part of it. You were a pizza delivery man and got fired.
Yes, for speeding.
For
Not on the job. there's misconceptions of that. I never sped on the job. It was tickets I got off the job. I got busted a lot right after COVID because at first they weren't pulling people over. And then as soon as they started pulling people over again, I was one of the first people they busted, and they got me a lot, let me tell you.
and now you work at the Outback.
Yep, as a server, correct.
And are they helping with the sponsorship some on your car too? Or I mean, helping
Yeah.
you with,
Yeah. They did the full race at Bristol last year, and they were on my truck at Martinsville again this year.
All right,
that's
and
pretty cool.
Now here comes the part that got me. You are a law student.
Correct. Yeah.
A law student where?
Temple University in Philadelphia.
That's what I thought. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. I heard.
That explains the Eagles helmet.
Yeah. I tried to get the blur to work, but this is I haven't used StreamYard in a while, and for some reason it wouldn't show out. So
We all right with that. We all right with that.
yeah, I've been outed as an Eagles fan, unfortunately. So
Well, I think you got, if you're born up there, you have to. I mean, it's like a law.
exactly. And I live maybe 25 minutes from the stadium, and with the way I drive, with all the speeding tickets, about 18 minutes away. So.
And you couldn't argue your way out of the ticket. I mean, what kind of lawyer are you going to be?
No, the first one I ever got was in April of 2021, I think. And it was before I ever moved to North Carolina. It was actually right when I was in the process of getting ready to go and start my internship with Rayon Brothers Racing. And I used to do I went to college at University of Virginia in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
It's about a 4-hour drive back to my hometown in New Jersey. But during COVID, I was doing it in just a little over 2 hours and 20 minutes. And like, that's highly illegal. That is very fast.
Yeah.
But there's no one on the roads. There was no one on the roads at the time, and it was nice and easy. So one day I'm on pace to beat my record. We're tracking 2 hours and 17 minutes. We are moving. And Real Gone by Sheryl Crow comes on, the intro song to the Cars movie. So I friggin' step on that son of a bitch. I am flying. I'm moving. And I pass. There's a Ford Taurus sitting in the left lane, and he's doing like 70 and a 55, but I'm doing like 95 and a 55. Blow right by him the second I do. Sirens pop right on. It was an undercover car. So this is in Virginia, and they don't mess around in Virginia. 20 over is reckless there, and they'll take you to jail for that. So the officer walks up to my car, and he's like, "Hey, you know why I pulled you over?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why in the hell were you going that fast?" And I'm like, I could lie. And I'm not a NASCAR driver at the time, so I have no cred. I'm just a douchey kid. And I'm like,
license.
right, yeah. I'm like, listen, man, I'm just trying to get home, and I like to see how fast I can get back to my hometown in New Jersey. And his face, like, he's confused. He's like, did this kid just tell me he was speeding for shits and giggles? And I'm like, yeah, I did just tell you that, officer. So he comes back to my car, and he's like, let me tell you something. You're either one of the dumbest kids I've ever met, or you're just so damn honest. And either way, I like the stones on you. He's like, I'm going to let you off. He's like, I'm going to give you 14. He's like, you don't even have to show up to court. It's not even reckless. He's like, I'm not going to take you to jail. He's like, but I swear, if I see your ass in court in 2 months, he's like, I am pegging you for 40 over. I'm like, all right, I'll take it and I'll leave. 2 weeks later, I got busted again in Charlottesville for speeding. So clearly didn't learn my lesson, but I got 4 in the span of 6 months, and I haven't had one since. So
how long did you have to stay? How long did you have to take a driving course for?
I actually didn't have to in New Jersey. They didn't make me.
Oh,
but
okay.
I was very close to having my license suspended. I think one more 3-point violation, and I would have had my license suspended. I actually had a $200 surcharge on my license every year for the past 3 years, and I finally just got it. I got enough points off to have it removed this year, so we're almost at 0 points again. Finally.
Wow, I'm gonna tell you something. They made a big deal out of that story on TV, and I loved it. I said, I got to talk to this guy. This guy's got to be, he's got to be good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
He's got to be good.
Yeah.
So you get involved in racing? I mean, well, I think I know how you got involved in racing. But tell us how you got involved. I mean, here you are, a law student and all this other stuff.
Yeah. So when I was a little kid, I didn't talk like at all. My mom was like really worried about me because the only thing I would do is as cars would drive by, I would like say their brand and that would be it. Now my mom likes to say I never shut up and she wishes I'd go back to being that way. But yeah, it kind of started there. Then it turned into die-cast cars, and then it turned into NASCAR Thunder 2004, and then it was Need for Speed and Mario Kart. And one day it was actually NASCAR Thunder, and I won the championship, and I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I walked upstairs to my dad, and I'm like, "Hey, you know, Dad, I'm so good at these video games. I bet you I could do this in real life." He's like, "That's not how it works, son." So then for my actual 9th birthday, he took me to a go-kart track in Delaware, and we went, and I loved it. And literally for the next 4 years, I did nothing but indoor rental go-karts. That's it. Over and over and over again. By the time it was said and done, I think I had logged about 1,000 sessions. And it was to the point where we got close with the owners. Like my dad would drop me off at a rental go-kart track as an 11-year-old for like 4 hours and just leave me with the owners. And they'd be fine with it because I was there so often. They knew who I was really well. My dad finally got done. He was done with the indoor rental stuff. So he found some competitive kart racing, which I don't know if you guys, I know you guys are big in like the stock car, late model scene, stuff like that. I don't know if you guys know anything about competitive karting, but it is batshit crazy. You're doing like 90 miles an hour, a couple inches off the ground, and you don't have seatbelts because if you flip, your head's the highest thing in it, and they want you to fall out. They don't want you to roll over 6 times and have your head smack the ground a bunch. So I ended up winning a national championship a few years into my karting career. I went overseas to race in Portugal. I was pretty badass at that. And I was just like every other kid, right? I came from a well-off family who mom and dad paid for the go-kart racing when I can do it, right? But we were not like some of these other kids. Like, you know, we were racing against Nick Latifi for reference of how much money they were spending. You know, they were spending $1 million a year, and you know, we were staying at Motel 6s, but well off enough family to compete in racing until I was 16 or 17. And dad got hit with a stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And that was crazy because here I am, a sophomore in high school, and I hear that my dad has 6 months to live. Usually my coping mechanism for something like that would be to go pound laps at the track or figure something out like that. But we were now, our financial situation had been flipped upside down. Like it was going to be a shit ton of money to keep him alive. So I retired. I walked away from the sport and I did it forcibly, but I focused on my academics. I got a scholarship to University of Virginia. I did play-by-play stuff for ESPN and a bunch of karting series across the country. And I found my way to stay involved in racing. And it was during the pandemic. It was like January of 21. And I'm just being an ass to my mom, to my dad, to my sister, to my little brother. And it's because all this news about Daytona's coming out, you know, the ARCA news of who's going to do the ARCA test and who's riding in the trucks and who's going to try and make the Daytona 500. And I'm like, man, I never got my shot. So finally dad walks in to my room and is like, you know, what is your problem? Why are you acting like this? I'm like, Dad, you know, it's because I feel like I've been good enough to do this my whole life and I've never gotten the chance to prove it. And he gets mad. And my dad is a real level-headed dude. Super long fuse, but every now and again it goes off, and when it does, it's pretty explosive. So he walks out of my room angrily, turns back around, gets his finger within a couple inches of my face, and says, "Let me tell you something, son." He's like, if I treated my cancer the way you treated racing, I would have been dead 5 effing years ago. And turns around, walks out, and doesn't speak to me for like 3 days. Now, when your dad essentially is so frustrated with you that he throws his terminal diagnosis in your face, that's like crazy. And my dad, to this day, 8 years later, is still around. So he is a fighter. He is a badass dude. He is badass for real. But it kind of like inspires you to go do something. So I sent emails to everyone I could think of, companies, team owners, drivers, lawyers of teams, literally every freaking person from Rick Hendrick to Josh Rayum got an email from me. Not a single one answered until I finally decided to email the 76ers commentator, Mark Zumoff, who connects me with a guy at NBC that he knows. And I had a relationship with him for a few years. And that guy was Michael Carey. Maybe you know who he is, maybe you don't. But he's a Philly guy. We went and got cheesesteaks, and he connected me to Josh Rayum. I moved to Charlotte like 2 weeks later, and I never looked back. That is.
You're in Charlotte now.
What's up?
You're in Charlotte now, right?
No. I moved during COVID. So when I was having when the whole Zoom stuff was big and everybody was, Zoom classes, Zoom this, Zoom that, I moved in April. So I took all my classes at UVA from my internship with RBR. Like I'd be sitting underneath a race car and in economics at the same time. And then at the end of the day, so I would work 9 to 5 unpaid. I would spend the next hour commuting home to where I was living in Charlotte at the time. And then from about 6 to 2, I'd be slinging pies at Domino's. And then I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up and I'd do it all again. And I used the Domino's money to pay the bills. And I did, the RBR internship to get close with some guys in racing and learn the ins and outs of the business. And I'm lucky enough to know Josh really well. And he's one of my best friends in life. And we developed a relationship, and he's helped me figure it out the rest of the way. When September rolled back around, I moved back home, or I moved back to Charlottesville, finished my college education, and I would just, if I needed to go to Charlotte, I would just drive 4 hours and go there myself. Now I live partially in Philadelphia, partially in New Jersey with my family, and if I have to go to Charlotte, I just grab a flight or drive 8 hours and get down there.
So how did your getting a race car for Pocono, how did that all work out? I mean, you've done it other races, but how did all that come about?
Yeah, Pocono was crazy because at first, so I didn't have anything lined up. And it is, anybody who knows racing is familiar with the fact that there's not a lot of money to go around, right? It is hard to find sponsors. It's hard to keep them. And a lot of the people who make it to the top level of NASCAR have some type of connection to either A, a past driver, owner, executive on a NASCAR team, right? Or B, a major company who can do a B2B deal or who can just write the check themselves and write it off, right? There are very few of us left who can actually find sponsors to go out and hit the racetrack. So I struck out, and last year I almost struck out too. I had a product deal for Josh where I had a dealership that was willing to give him a brand new car, and they backed out the Friday before the race, and I ended up scrambling to find something. And on Tuesday, I drove 2 hours to Pocono, and I just started calling businesses there and walking into businesses looking to see if they would sponsor me. And right before the racetrack in Pocono, there's this big yellow and red billboard, and it is not pretty. It is like vibrant, but not well matched in its color scheme. And it's for a company called GreatPoconoHomes.com. And I called the guy, and he was so impressed that I was a driver just cold calling people that he wrote me the check. He sent me the money that day. So that's how I got it done last year. This year, I thought I had a major deal to go racing with a bigger team, and I thought it was going to be a great opportunity in Xfinity, and I ended up not being able to put it together. So I was super disappointed, and on Saturday, I even sent out a tweet or something that was like, hey, I'm disappointed I'm not racing at Pocono, but sometimes that's the way it goes. Monday, Josh calls me, tells me the 27's opened up, and I've been working with Josh forever. We have a very symbiotic relationship. I scratch your back, you scratch mine type deal. He's like, hey man, let's work together and get something done. And we did, and we put it together and we figured it out. And then later that night, I checked my Instagram DMs, and Joey Gase has reached out to me saying he needs somebody to drive the 35 for Pocono too. And I was able to get them both the money they needed by packaging the deals together and saying, hey, look, we're doing a doubleheader. We're doing a truck and Xfinity. And literally the week before, I pulled a bunch of my standing sponsors, a bunch of the people who have been supporting me for a long time, and Great Pocono Homes. And they came back on and they did it again, and they bailed me out the week before a race, and we got to do double duty.
That's pretty cool. You got a pretty cool, interesting story.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
So will we see you again this year, or what do you look working on now?
I sure as shit hope so. I can't promise anything, but we're working on some stuff to get back behind the wheel. I've got a few races that I have circled, and I have a really valuable swinging sponsor that's willing to throw some money no matter where the race is. So I imagine that should get me close enough to the point where I can pull off at least one more. The problem is, right, I work a 9 to 5 now. Like, I'm a regular dude. I sit behind a desk, 8 hours a day, and I work as a legal intern at a corporate job. I'm going back to law school at the end of August, right? Because this is our summer break. So racing itself is racing in its own self is a 9 to 5 job. Finding sponsors and signing deals and getting to the racetrack and doing all this other stuff. So to find the time to figure that all out is really, really difficult. But I'm going to make it work. I'm going to try and get behind the wheel for one more. Not sure if it'll be truck or Xfinity, but I'm going to figure it out. Pretty confident.
Well, Stephen, I appreciate you spending time with us tonight and telling us your story, because you have a very interesting story. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All the stuff that happened on TV caught my interest real quick. And I said, I'm going to get a hold of him. And I appreciate you calling, getting back with me, and we were able to work this out. And I hope it works out. You get another ride for at least one more race this year.
Yeah, thank you. I hopefully we do it. Hopefully we can get back on here and talk about maybe a top 10 finish or something. I'm getting kind of sick and tired of running 30th all the time, but I'm just blessed to be out there. Every time I get behind the wheel for a race car, I realize, I'm one of the few guys in the whole world who gets to do what I do. And it's awesome.
Right.
So,
And there's a line of people behind you wanting what you got. So
Yep.
think about that. So
Yep, always. And I never forget it. I never forget how lucky I am. And you know what? The last thing I'll say before I get out of here, and I'll let you get back to your show, is, for years I thought I'd never step behind the wheel of a race car again. So every time I get to do it, I'm like, holy crap, we could have been done years ago. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I appreciate you guys having me on, and I look forward to talking to you guys in the future.
all right. Well, we're gonna get you back on here again. Hopefully we'll find out something about when you figure out what you're gonna do about another race this year, let me know. We'll get you back on here, we'll talk about it.
We can announce it here.
Sounds good. Well, I'll look forward to that.
Okay, Danny. All right, Stephen, we appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Yep. Talk to you soon, guys.
All right,
See you,
thank you.
It is a pretty interesting.
That's a crazy story. Every turn, it was like, oh my God.
Right.
I mean, I sit there and listen to them talk about it.
I wonder what kind of an attorney does he want to be?
I didn't ask that. I didn't think about it. But it's funny. I sat there and I listened to that story on TV, and then they made jokes about, well, if we order pizza, we know who can get it here quick. Well, they made a lot of jokes about it, but hey, it got him a lot of attention.
Right.
It got him a lot of attention. That's a big deal. It caught my attention.
Well, they say bad publicity still good publicity.
That's
Yeah.
right. I mean,
Still
it caught me good. So anyway, I thought it was really cool. I had to get him on here. That's something I had to do. All right, let's get Craig over here and talk about all his exploits that he's got going on. We'll let you come right in here and sit right there. You need to be over there. We'll sit here.
Mr. Craig.
Mr. Craig Eastep.
Hopefully, no speeding tickets.
Yeah, I drive very slow on the road. Everybody hates to ride with me.
I think they race car drivers get it out on the racetrack.
No,
Mostly.
So they
that's not necessarily all true.
You didn't go that fast on the racetrack, Jack. You still had to drive fast.
I wasn't talking about me. See, why you got to turn this on me all the time?
At least he knows the pedals.
Yeah.
So, Craig, what all we got going? I mean, you made it, told me a couple times. This is going to be the last year. You might run a few races next year.
It's my last year of being here every week.
Have you heard this before?
Next year, yeah. From now on, what I'll do over the next couple of years is I'll just pick and choose when I want to run. Probably run the Hampton Heat. I'd like to run the Triple Crown next year. Do that, maybe about 6 or 7 races, just to keep it going, in my blood.
But you can't get it out of your blood. It's
Well,
gonna
you
stay.
never get it out. I'll stay involved probably forever, but I just don't want to be obligated to be here every week, racing every week. Give everybody a break to do stuff. And I think this year we stepped into it, and one thing I promised myself that we were going to have fun. As a team, there was to be no arguing and bickering between each other. We come out here and do the best we can do, and come back next week, try to be better. And we're the last couple of years we've been I think behind everybody because of my illnesses and stuff. But this year I feel great, and we're just trying to get faster.
And being you brought up the health thing, where are you at with that stuff? I don't know if everybody
I'm
knows.
100% cancer free. I've gained all my weight back. I feel great. I probably feel better than I have in a long time. And on Saturday, as hot as it was, running the Hampton Heat, I got out. I was a little hot when I stopped, but overall, it wasn't that bad. And been able to hang with the heat and stuff. And the year before was kind of tough on me running it and stuff. But it takes a while to recover from it and get back, especially when you get up in the 60s.
And it's but even then it was kind of, and Dale Jr. alluded to this after the race. It was kind of a blessed Hampton Heat. It wasn't as hot as it usually is, or it can be.
No, it was a lot cooler.
Dale's like, this was pretty hot for him. He's like, I don't know if I'd want to be here for a standard Hampton Heat.
Yeah, I was talking to him after the race, and I said something about coming back and running. He said, "Oh, I'll definitely come back, but I don't know if it'll be in July."
How long have you been coming here?
I've been coming here since it was dirt.
Okay.
And all back when this place first started opening. Matter of fact, my father and John Kenny built a car when they shortened us up from the Dude Ranch to Langley Speedway. They had the third car to ever come through the gate. And what they did, they put everybody's name in a hat, and they drew it out, and their date that they were born on was the number of the car, and they drew mine, so the car was number 27. And I ran my first race in July of 1977.
Okay.
Here.
Well, you've been here a while.
Yeah, 48 years I've been doing this.
And being that Langley had the history it has, you've raced against some of the cream of the crop.
Yeah, we ran against a lot of good people back in the day. I mean, I remember days Darrell Walter would come here and run with us in late models. Tommy Houston's ran with us in late model stuff. You look at the guys that have been through here that we've competed against are now in the upper levels. When you step back and look at the Cup Series, probably 10, 12 drivers have raced here in the last 10 years. And I was reading some today that said Corey Haim's the #1 pick for the 43 car next year if Eric Jones don't sign.
Yeah.
And so, here's another one that raced here and competed with us that's going to move up. So, and, we raced Saturday night against Talon out here in this race that eventually you will see him in the upper levels. I mean, look at Brendan. He's already in the Truck Series, and there's some other things going on with drivers. You hear about them moving up and running. Gaden Honeycutt. Look at him. What he does.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he does everything. I mean, so you're not just racing against guys that race weekly. We got guys that race every week in different series. And
are competitive in those other series.
The Hampton Heat, this race right here, seems to draw a lot of people like that. South Boston does too. The race, the Triple Crown has really turned into something big with the people coming in and running it. I think it's going to grow year after year. You'll see it get bigger and bigger and bigger. And everybody talks about, well, the money isn't really there, but nobody cares about the money. You don't race for the money.
No, but we're on a kind of an uptick. I mean, NASCAR has been on kind of an uptick for 5 years now, probably. Or I mean, since COVID, I know, or even a little bit before COVID, I think we were sort of hitting this uptick where it used to be, not to say money is any easier to get, but it feels like it's flowing a little bit more than it was in the past.
And I think with the Cars Tour, late model stock car racing has boomed over the last couple of years. It's become really popular. A lot of people talk about the racing is just incredible. I mean, all the way through the field. And just like the Hampton Heat, the pace slows down in that race. A lot of people ride. We were riding, but you're riding in a pack of 20 cars.
Right.
And you're
About to run over each other.
You're about to run over each other, and and you do that for 100 laps. And
Is that difficult to do from the driver's
yes.
side?
Well, what it is the inside lane can run slower than the outside lane.
Mm-hmm.
So that's everybody's fighting to stay on the bottom because you don't have to run as hard to run a shorter distance around the track. And so they're all fighting to get down there, and then they jump to the outside and think they can get a few spots, but then that line's backing up. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I think to go to the front, you have to do it in like the first 25, 30 laps because everybody's fighting for the bottom and riding. After about 50 laps into the race, they're double file, and it's really difficult to pass up without beating and banging.
Mm-hmm.
And people are checking up because they feel like they're going too fast, and and people squeezing in line. So it is intense. You gotta stay on what you're doing. You can't relax. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then when do you go? You're saving tire and saving tire and saving tire. And Brendan's pretty much got it figured out about where he needs to fall in this race.
He does.
And 2 years in a row, he's fell to a certain spot, and that's where he rides at. He knows the pace he needs to run to have tire to run it together.
Mm-hmm. But when you have a really fast car, that's easier to do, right?
Yes, yes, it is. And I felt like we had a pretty decent car in the first half of it, and then we made a few adjustments, and the car was just too free in the second half of the race, and we had a shock fail, and the car just got stupid loose, and I ended up spinning, and I said, it's not worth tearing it up now. I just parked it and got out of it, and we'll regroup and be back in 2 weeks for the 100 lapper and go after it again.
It was a pretty clean Hampton Heat. There was no big wrecks. There was a couple spins, but I think some of that, I know Dale knocked the 77, turned him around, but they were stacking up
But
in
that
front
was
of
a chain
him.
reaction of
Correct,
squeezing in.
Yeah, that wasn't Dale just going in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it you behind him? You know,
Yeah, it was a couple cars back.
Yeah, because somebody nearby got into him and they kind of
Yeah.
moved out of the way, or he moved out of the way. That's just a product of the pace being so slow.
Yeah, there's a lot of hand gestures in that.
Yeah,
A lot of waving people off and and stuff like that. But look at Woody Howard. I don't know where he started out, but I think he fell to dead last. And
I think
Honeycutt,
he qualified in the top 10, I think.
He was in,
Sixth, I think. Yeah.
He had a pretty good.
Yeah, he did a really good job of saving tires and driving back up there. Caden Honeycutt, he was running dead last. If you watched the video, right before halfway, Mark almost laps him, and he takes off and passed some cars. But they really saved tire, and it really helped.
Now, did it feel like, from my perspective of watching the race, I thought Mark was going a little too fast of a pace in the first 50, 70 laps.
Yeah, the pace was, the thing is, you look at the speed, let's say we're running an 18-second lap. It's still talking, the speed is still there.
Back in the day, that was a good lap.
Yeah, so the pace was, so the guys are trying to ride. The biggest thing is not spinning the tires and not driving into the corner too hard. So it's that acceleration and just letting the car roll through. So I think I'm like you. I think the pace up front, the front cars ran a little bit harder than I think it hurt them at the end.
Yeah.
Because look at the cars that came to back up. We were just trying to finish. I have a hard time finishing this race, for some reason. But I felt like we had a good package. We didn't have a good Friday practice. We couldn't get speed out of the car. Couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. We kept changing everything. And then Saturday, same thing. We unloaded and tried some stuff and still no speed. And then after we put on new tires and ran like a 1680, and I'm like, man, this thing should run way faster than that.
Yeah.
And so before qualifying, we just changed a bunch of stuff and hoping for the best. And we picked up like 0.7 of a second. We turned a 2-1, but I got loose coming off a 4. So I know the car had more in it. And I said, you know what? They give me the option to put 4 more tires on and re-qualify. But I
Oh,
would
you
have-
were in that group?
Yeah, I was in
okay.
that group, in the first
Uh-huh.
group. So the track was still a little hot, and before the rain, I thought about doing it, but I had to go first.
Mhm,
And I
right,
said,
yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna just stick on the time I got. We started 23rd. You know, it was right there with Landon Pilmington. I mean, there was a bunch of good cars right there in
Mm-hmm.
that group of us, and we all talked, you know, about riding together. You know, and just saying there, you got to kind of have buddies out there too that you ride with. You know, when you're doing this race, and not just. It's way different than running a regular Saturday night race.
Sure, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're running with people, and they'll, you know, if you're running behind them, you're not running over top of them. They're not running over the top of you. You know, and
You
of course,
gotta-
all that goes out the window at the end of
Oh,
it.
yeah, for sure.
You're no longer my buddy. I'm sorry.
You're right, yeah.
But it's a very interesting race. The 4 tires, I think, makes it very interesting because tire management plays a factor. And if they give you 2 tires at halfway, it would be a completely different race, and you would probably see a lot of torn race cars.
Well, and I asked several people, did they like just the 4 tires or would they want 6? What's your opinion?
I like the 4 tires. I think the
And-
tire management is it puts more strategy into it. You know, if you just give guys tires and they can just go as hard as they want to go, it's really going to separate the field. I think it's going to be a very boring race. People in the grandstand, they see a pack of cars running like that side by side, you know,
They don't
lap
know
after
what
lap
that's
after lap. That's what they're here for. They
Right.
don't want to see a bunch of cars strung out around a racetrack, you know,
Mhm.
running and the leader lapping up to the 10th place car,
Right.
you know, and stuff. They don't want to see that. They want to see that pack of cars, you know, grouped up and racing. That's what
Yeah.
the
And
excitement
most
is.
everybody I talked to had the same opinion.
Yeah.
And I would agree. A couple of people think that we should go to those tires that the car stores are running. Do you have an opinion on that? I mean, you may not
I
know
haven't
that
ran
much about them.
them.
Have you? What is it?
I've heard good and
SPTs or
bad
whatever?
about them. Some people don't like them. I've heard some people say that's the best tire they've ever raced on. So the cars to a race, the cars look like they ran pretty hard all night long on them. So I think in the Hampton Heat, I think it would be a really good tire for us to be on. And I think you would see the speeds a little bit faster during the race, and
Well-
maybe the cars more racy at the end.
Well, that's what I'm curious of, because we've heard when we were in Charlotte, Tony Uri Jr. was telling us how much he hated them. It's like you bolt one set on and the car is good. You bolt another set on and they're junk.
Yeah.
But Saturday I talked to a few people and they're like, man, those just you can go as hard as you want for 200 laps and they don't give up.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if I'm a fan of that or not, to be honest. For me personally, because I kind of related back to the cup cars, right? I like tire wear and tire management
Yes.
in a race. If they don't give up, then it just kind of goes back to we gave them 2 tires in the middle and they could go as hard as they
Well,
want.
it eliminates the I would say call it the low budget guy that can,
Mhm. Sure.
you know, the more superior cars, which they are up front now, but you know, there's guys that didn't have superior teams here that
For
ran
sure.
up in the front. I mean, Raleigh Music. I mean,
Mhm.
Raleigh's got good equipment, great equipment, but he's not a high budget team like some of the guys he was competing against. And right before I spun, I mean, he lapped me. I mean, I was so loose. I mean, he's running 3rd. I mean, I thought it was very impressive, you know,
Man.
to be that late and still up there.
You know, Phil. Phil has been able to do more with less than anybody
Yes,
I've ever
yes.
known.
Yes.
When Phil was driving to today with Riley driving,
Mhm.
they are able to do more with less than most anybody I know.
Yes. Yes. So, and we were pitted beside Cade Honeycutt. I mean,
Mhm.
Cade Brown.
Okay, yeah.
That group, but great guys. That's one thing about this race. You end up pitted by somebody that you don't know
Mhm.
always, and you get to meet them. You become friends and talking and stuff. So
You can learn something too, right? And sometimes you can pick.
yeah,
up-
we learned. You know, talking to their crew chief, we learned a little bit. That helped us. We did figure some stuff out on our own. What was wrong with the car? I feel like we're getting better, and but that's a good team. I mean, that's a
Mhm.
that's a professional race team.
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
what they do. And so they were getting outrun by teams, like you said, that are not that don't have nowhere near the budget that they have to race on. So, but you know, a lot of times hard work pays off.
Yeah.
You know, you do with what you got, you work on it hard. You know, it's the same thing with us. I mean, we're not a high budget team. Fortunately, this year we have more money to work with than we have in a long time. And we're putting it towards we replace parts before they break. You know, they're completely worn out and stuff. I mean, we were just at the shop earlier with my brother, and he's like, "It's time for belts." You know, I'd run them until they broke before. So I take a picture of the numbers, and I order belts tomorrow for the car, and you know, and replacing stuff. And so, and that's what you got to do to compete at this level of this with this in a late model. It's no longer running stuff like that.
Who impressed you the most in the Hampton Heat?
I would say probably Raleigh, because I'm telling you, I mean, that was close to lap 150 and he's still running third. And you got Brendan leading him, Connor second, and he's third, and he's not that far back. And he then got by Mark Wirtz, and then Mark was going backwards, and I think Raleigh cut a tire. The caution's hurting, but I think he was pretty impressive. I kind of got that thing from him and Aiden Millett. I mean, I think driving to the front early like that and then settling in and riding may be the way to do it instead of riding back in 20th, 25th spot, because it is hard to pass people and in this race. And you got a chance of also tearing your car up coming up through there.
Right. Yeah.
So I think they got up front, you know, you got 4 or 5 cars up there to race with. If you do, your car does go away, you know, you're just giving up spots. It's easier to give up a couple than it is to gain a couple. And it's like us, we were struggling. I was so loose, you know, trying to pass cars that I was faster than I could catch them, but driving by them was hard. And you know, without just running over top of somebody, you know, I don't want to go home and do body work or fix stuff on mine either.
Yeah, well, I know a few times Phil had told Riley, it was like, stop, slow down. You know, you're gonna wear it out.
Yeah, but they were pretty impressive. But you know, it was fun racing with Dale Jr. You know, I think that was probably great for the series. It was great for Langley Speedway because a lot of people, I think, attended the race are not normal fans for here, and you got to give it to them. I mean, they stuck it out. This place was flooded. They pumped the water out. They dried it, you know, and they went racing. And I mean, they were determined to get it in. And I didn't want to come back out here Sunday.
No. Well, I think Dale, I think he had orders from Amy to be home on Sunday.
Yeah. so, you know, a lot of people were like, well, get home until 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, yeah, but would you rather come back on Sunday?
Right.
Like,
I'd rather been here till 4 o'clock in the morning than go home instead of coming back Sunday.
But it was that was impressive for them to stick it out and do that, not knowing if they dried it, if we were going to get more rain. You know, we're in an area, it might say there's no thunderstorms around, and next thing you know, you got this big boomer over top of you.
So, I tell you another one that impressed me.
It's hard to believe it that after the rain, how many people did stay here after the rain?
Oh, I know.
I was thinking it was
No, they
poured.
I don't think anybody left. I mean,
I don't think so either.
Packed, man.
And the people under the stands down here, they thought they were going to get out of the rain by being under the stands, but that didn't work for them because I looked at them and they were drowning.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable. They hung in here and stayed. I mean,
Well, and the people were having fun. I mean, it was raining. The rain had stopped.
Oh, the kids were out here playing in the water, stand in water in the grass, like sliding.
Yeah.
I mean, they were having a good old time.
Aiden and Riley were
I
jumping in
walked
puddles.
around and visit my daughter who's here and my grandkids, and we just made a trip around through the back of the bleachers. You know, I like to see what's going on, you know, and I was like, wow, you know, there's many people back here. I mean, it was
Right,
you know, they were everywhere.
everywhere.
And I ran into a lot of people that normally don't come here, that, you know, that knew me, and talked to them and made our way back across and hung out for about 4 or 5 hours till we got to drive. You know, we were in that first group of cars to qualify. So, you know, we were just our car was just sitting there. And fortunately, we were up in higher ground and Mount Walls. So I thought the car was going to float away.
Oh, really?
And they, so it was interesting, but they, like I said, they did give us that option to requalify, buy 4 tires, go back through tech and requalify, but you had to go to the front of the line I think Brendan Pierce did it.
Oh, did he?
Yes,
And he
yeah.
ran slower.
Yeah, I didn't. I think just keep your time was probably the thing to do.
Yeah.
Because I think
really,
until you got to the middle of qualifying, the first half was going to be slower. The second half might have got faster. We got some heat in the racetrack.
Yeah, well, I think the temperatures were a lot cooler and they
Correct.
pick up a little bit of speed. But you know, we were happy. We knew we was going to be around. Once they started qualifying, we knew we was going to end up around 20th. And I said that's fine because that's about where we had planned on riding most of the race anyway. So we were fine with it. And so we're glad we stuck on it.
Mm-hmm. I think one other guy that impressed me was Ryan Matthews. He had a good run going until they got caught up into that when Aiden missed a shift or something didn't go. I don't know what happened there, and he got the hood all buckled and they black flagged. And
yeah, Ryan runs good. He's a smart little racer. I mean, he got up there, his car looked good, and he had speed.
He led a little bit. I think
Mark was pretty impressive. I mean,
he had a lot of
Friday he sat there and let everybody go in there and burn up tires and run. He unloads, it goes there and boom, top of the board. I'm like, wow. I said,
okay, Mark.
What's it like, Craig? What's it like, Craig? You've been around here as long as you have, to see the young talent we have coming along now. It is unbelievable, and you're racing against them.
Yes,
and it's got to be, it's got to be something to think about what's going to happen down the road.
Yeah, the limited late model class, I think, is one of the best things they've ever done here.
Mm-hmm.
It puts these kids, because everybody's goal is to be in the top class, to run late model. When I started, that's what I wanted to do. Of course, back then they were Novas and Chevelles, but and that's what you wanted to do.
Right.
You wanted to race with those guys. So the limited class puts them really close, and now they've learned that they can run a 604 crate. They can convert their car over and actually compete with us, during the year and kind of get their feet wet doing the late model thing. And to see the ones that moved up from limited to run,
quite a few
in the Hampton Heat, was pretty impressive because I mean they ran decent, they hung with the pack. Of course pace was slower, but they still hung with the pack.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all but Jacob Derrick finished the race.
What happened to Jacob?
He got out because he was struggling with the heat.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody just said he fell out of the seat. He fell out of the seat.
Yeah, he got overheated. But look at Danny Harrell. I mean, here's a guy, that came and ran this race, and I mean, he was running as hard as he could run. He ran the whole race. I mean, he was there at the end,
right?
And that was his. I think
had fun doing it, right?
And he had fun doing it. He went out there and he qualified. The speed he ran in qualifying was probably faster than he's ever been around here. And and I'm pretty sure you're gonna probably see him again doing it. Maybe before the end of the year, he might run with us again. The 78 car out Weiss, he ran 134 laps of practice.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, but it's seat time. They're young, and seat time is a big thing, especially the changes that you go through as with tire wear and everything else. Being able to learn that.
Yeah, because they don't have to worry about that in limited, I would imagine. Saving tires, right? I mean, I think they can go as hard as they want.
But I think the late models are easier to drive than the limiteds because of the bigger tires and better shocks and everything. But I think it's pretty impressive. I mean, we got some good talent coming up. We got 4 or 5 of them that are, will eventually be full-time late model drivers out here.
And they're good kids. And I mean, nobody made a mistake and, caused some big wreck or anything.
No.
And I would feel comfortable running with any of them. I mean, they all do a good job.
We had a lot of people. It was their first Hampton Heat that ran it. And I think everybody overall did really well.
Yeah.
Understanding the pace, of the race and how it's run and all. So it's
a lot of cars.
Very interesting. There was a lot of cars up there too. What, 35, 36 started?
What did you say?
Did you hear what he said about he would feel comfortable racing with any of those guys?
Yeah, but
I don't think they would be comfortable racing with him.
How many cars started? It was 35?
35, I think.
Oh, I thought it was 36. I thought
No, it was 35. It was 35.
36 with Thomas.
But that's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's the first time we've ever that I can remember in a long, long time that under cautions that you actually have to stop because everybody they you know,
Bunching
they're
everybody
going
up.
around and you stop. I'm like, dang on, you know, and you got to shove.
Well, hell,
Keep going.
you back guys that were riding in the back when the caution came out, when the green come, you were just bunching up to the field. They were taking off.
Yeah.
You know.
And but the pace was so slow, even if you were back 2 or 3 car lengths, by the time you got down here, you're back with the pack.
Mm.
You know, it just
Right. Yeah.
so I was more concerned about somebody missing a gear up in front of me, or you know, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody break an axle, you just never know. And with that many cars, if somebody does get turned around in a pack like that, or especially on a restart, it's going to be a big pile up.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Yeah. Luckily, there was only a few cars with Aiden. That whatever happened with him, that only a few cars kind of got goofed up there.
yeah, I think it got Casey White's car, and he knocked him out of the race. And
Casey,
the 51.
the 51. There was one other one that got tore up, but I don't think it didn't. Well,
Yeah.
what happened to the 31? Was he involved in that one?
Cole,
too?
I think so. Yeah.
Cole Bruce.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they came in and worked on it, I think.
Yeah.
But they it's pretty cool. I mean, that's a good race. I mean, the Speedway puts on a good show for it. You know, that makes it exciting.
Yeah. Most definitely. It was a great weekend.
All the way around.
It was.
Good one.
Mm-hmm.
So got any sponsors and everybody you want to talk about?
Yeah, man. We picked up a few new ones. Got Equipment Share on the car. I'm glad to have them with us. Hampton Heat was their first ride with us.
Oh, nice.
With the hood. And really glad to have these guys aboard. FM 99, of course, on the car. And
That's one of the coolest things of the year for me.
yeah, it's everybody's told me, a lot of people have come up and said, you know what? They said, man, I can remember when you ran that. How long ago was it? And I was like 24, 25 years ago. And they go, man, that's like the coolest sponsor to have, you know.
Mhm.
Bobby Spobby, I ran into him Saturday night. He told me, he goes, man, I'm so glad. It's so cool to see the FM 99 back out here.
Mm-hmm.
And have them, Glenn's Maintenance and Mechanical, Extreme Mechanical Services, Grooms by Tanya, my daughter, and Ace Hardware helping us out. And of course, Billy Banks Racing Engines and Hedgecock Race Cars. So we're it takes a lot to do it, a lot of money,
It does.
and it's you know, to do it and to have fun and be able to do it right. So
you're still having fun with it, to me.
yeah, I still enjoy it. I enjoy working on the car. We just moved into a new shop, and we finally ever settled down in there and got a lot more room to work with. And so we're doing that. Now we're going to run the next 3 races here, and then we'll be getting ready to go to Martinsville. Something I've done twice, haven't had no success there. And I can't get through the heat races.
Man,
Yeah.
They're tough.
It's so tough.
Yeah,
That's
they're
a tough
tough.
race.
But we have the best equipment we've ever had going there. And so we just got to work on that, you know, getting our stuff ready to go there and run that race. And we're going to try to run the spec motor there. We've got to work on some air, you know, try to find the best air cleaner system and everything we can get, try to get as much flow as we can get into it.
Mhm.
And figure out the gearing on the car so we can get some speed down at the end of the straightaway. But probably won't qualify that good with it, but it should race good. And that's what everybody's, you know, I've talked to about saying it. I've talked to Peyton about it. He said, push on Shane and see if you get a weight break. I said, so I messaged him. He said, I'll see what they say. But, you know, I think it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time regardless. If we don't make it, you know, we're going to have fun while we're up there. And
That's the most
that's what it's
important.
all about. you
Yeah.
know. So I think it's a big group of us, family, and that's one of the most important things about it.
Have fun.
It's mostly it's you and your brother, right? And you and your brother work on the
Yeah,
car.
me and my brother and Jeff, we've been together. Well, he couldn't. The first couple of years that I raced, he wasn't old enough to come in the pits because you had to be 16 years old.
Mm.
You know, when I started racing, you had to be 16 and you had to have a driver's license.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, you did half the field out there right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you had to be 16. You had to have a driver's license. You had to fill out a special form, regular NASCAR stuff, and then a special form that was a minor's release. Your parents had to sign, do all that. And I think the first time I got a NASCAR license, it was like $25, and it was $5 to get in the racetrack.
Oh, wow.
Joe Carver was the promoter.
Yeah.
You
don't
just
think
had
I've
to go
seen
in that
NASCAR.
little building down there and get paid after the races.
Mm.
And you went in and,
Yeah.
and you asked me, say, well, what about my extra? And he'd lift up his little calendar on his desk and pull that $5 out that you paid for your pit pass, give it back to you. And tell him if you didn't ask for it, he wouldn't give it to you. But yeah, it was kind of fun. I mean, just all the stuff kind of, I guess I've raced underneath for like 12 different promoters, I think it is, or something like that out here.
Yeah.
Seen a lot
Been a
of people.
bunch.
Yeah,
Been a bunch out here.
I mean, the Joe Bonassi days,
Who was before Wayne? Who was that?
before Wayne, Joe Bonassi,
Okay.
yes, and then Wayne come in. Wayne White, man, I mean, he did a lot here, with this place and changing it over. I mean,
He did.
the bleachers were crappy, and he had an old guardrail. He paved the racetrack. He put up concrete wall. He did the bleachers. He did the skyboxes. I think he made this place into what it is. He was the backbone of it.
In the beginning
Chuck
part of
Hall
it, for
and
sure.
Wayne back in the day and all. I came out here and helped them take the old bleachers down.
That was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Chuck was a big part of that too,
Yeah.
because Chuck came with him, or I forget how he came here, how that started. But Chuck's been a big component of the transition of the racetrack.
Yeah, but there
From
was
95, I think it was 94, 95.
yeah, but it was a big change, what they did, and because that old guardrail, man, that stuff was dangerous, man.
It
I
was,
got-
but it didn't
I
seem
got
like you tore up your stuff as bad. The wall don't give none.
No, but they had the poles in the ground, and I'm sorry to have wrecks, and I got pictures at home of the guys driving with a sledgehammer, driving poles back in the ground to fix the guardrail.
No, I remember that happening.
You remember that?
Yep, I remember that happening.
Yeah, because my dad always joked about it. He said they had a picture in one of the programs of Joe Carver driving a pole in the ground, and my dad says, "Yeah." He said the guy come up with the camera, and Joe grabs the sledgehammer, lifts it in the air, and they take his picture, and he hands it back to my dad. He said, "You can drive your own damn poles." But
We're still
yeah, that was
going.
crazy back, all that stuff, and seeing all of it. But it's really grown and changed a lot over the years. I worked out here at one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before I started racing, I worked here at the track with Joe Carver, cutting grass and picking up trash and all that stuff. And then when I started racing, he said, "Well, you can't work here and be in race." So I said, "All right." So the first race, I knocked down about 60 foot of guardrail down there in turn 3. I said, that wasn't good.
Eddie said, yeah, the Armco was in the car. Some of the cars would come in the car. And I do remember seeing some of that. Sometimes they get caught behind the middle or
Yes.
yeah, that kind of stuff.
There was a picture of Tommy Ellis's car on the back straightaway. They used to have in the program, and the guardrails like over top of the car stuck between the guardrails.
Oh, yeah.
I remember somebody talking about that, but I don't remember being here for
Yeah.
that one.
He come up the corner and got tangled up, hit the guardrail and going. But I just, growing up and seeing people like Sonny Hutchins and Bill Dennis and Bruce Warren and Billy Smith and these guys out here on normal Saturday, Randy Hutchison, seeing those guys race, and then they'd have the big race, the Gene Lovelace 300. Remember that? Gene Lovelace race? And the people that raced in that race. I mean, you'd have
Butch Lindley came here and raced in the big race.
Bob Presley,
Harry Gant.
Yeah, I was going to say Harry came.
Harry
a couple
Gant.
times.
Yeah, I remember Harry Gant coming in there and racing. And all of them had open trailers and
Yeah.
pickup, if they
Did
had.
Richard Petty come here and race once or twice, I think? I believe so. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he did come here.
I remember the race that Buddy Dozier got sick or something in the middle, and Tommy Ellis, he was driving Mike Buffkin's backup car, got out of that car, something happened. He got a flat, went a couple laps down. He got mad, told him that they changed tires for the 4-way faster than they could with the impact. And then Buddy Dozier got sick. He gets in Buddy's car and goes out and wins the race. Not sure he was on the lead lap, but they said he was. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
But one of my favorites was Al Grennan.
Mm.
You know,
yeah.
back when I was a little kid, he was Uncle Al the Kitty Pal. This
Oh,
guy
really?
instead of used to wear red socks and pull them over top of his fire suit. And once a year, he'd bring this big skate body truck full of watermelons. And after the race, he'd pull up on the front straightaway and he'd sit on the bed of that thing and cut watermelons for all the kids and people out there. And he'd do it every year. I
I'm
mean,
grinning or something.
and we were
I
little.
never heard of that one.
Yeah, he was funny, man. He had those red socks looked like a clown. You know, but that's the fun stuff. You know, seeing it change. People, you got to have those characters, you know, that entertain you.
Oh,
you
for
like.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know?
Mike King says we need more seating. I don't know that we need more seating. I mean, for the big races, yeah, it ain't like it
It's
used to be.
parking is the problem.
But the bad part about it is they put them two
No, 600 apiece.
you know, they put them seats over there,
It stands, yeah.
the stands. Not a lot of people were over there in those stands. I mean,
Well, I
some
think at
filled
one
in there at
point-
one time.
We had to
we
make an announcement because I don't think we're not sure they knew they were
Well,
open.
Somebody
somebody
was
was
telling
turning
they couldn't
away.
sit over there.
Yeah.
Some people were where it said you
We
can't
heard
sit
them
over
call
here.
up. Yeah, they were saying, no, you
So-
can't sit over here.
So no,
So actually, Vaughn had to go down there and
yeah,
tell somebody.
that's right,
yeah.
yeah.
You know, they kind of did that without advertising it. I don't think people really knew.
Yeah.
And also, if they had known that there was extra seating over, you know, like the Denny Hamlet race, they put seating all the way through the corner.
Yeah.
But you know, that was a good crowd. I mean, how many days did it take to sell the race out? 3 days.
It wasn't long.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's pretty impressive for a short track.
Monday to
like
Thursday.
us.
And we,
100%.
and some of us had to sit around and tell everybody they couldn't get a ticket. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
but that wasn't good either.
Yeah, there was. I think Vaughn told me only like 20% of the people that attended it were normal Langley fans.
Okay.
So you figure all those people that came that,
Yeah,
Never come
hopefully
here,
they'll
you
come
know.
back.
hopefully someone come back, you know, because we're in a very large area of population. You know, the racetrack should be drawing, but but the other problem with this area is also
Military.
you have so much stuff going on all the
Yeah,
time.
that,
There's
the
always
competing
things going
advertising
on.
dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, so they got to compete against, you know, the Tides playing, against concerts, you know, all this stuff going on,
I agree.
and all. And when it's hot, most people are gonna look for something to do. It's a little cooler.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately this place here, bleachers is the last thing to shade up.
Yeah.
Saturday,
That
not hot
is true.
sun. So they're, but it's great to be a part of it, you know, especially for so many years.
For
You
sure.
know, we've done out here.
So we want you around for a few more years. So don't.
Yeah. Well,
You
if
can slow down a little bit.
Well, if
but
I
you
can slow down. If I can compete for 2 more years, it'll make 50 years since I've started racing. And I just won't be doing it all the time. You know, I want to spend time. I got grandkids playing softball and baseball and dancing and stuff and going to seeing that stuff and not obligating myself to be at the racetrack every week. And I'll run opening night over the next 2 years. I will run opening night.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like the biggest night to come
It
out
is.
and see your stuff, run and what you got. And probably when it gets hot weather, you won't see me a whole lot.
I don't know how we did it back in the day when we ran every week.
Oh, well, that's what we were talking about, the amount of starts. And I figured going back and thinking, I probably got over 1,200 starts here. And they were like, I said, well, we used to run 36 weeks in a row. We
Yeah.
ran every single
Every
week.
week.
I said, in the weekends of Richmond, we ran on Sunday. When they went to Saturday night, we'd run
Yeah.
Sundays. And we never had a break, 36 weeks of racing. And, you know, you do that for 10 years, you know, that's 360 races right there.
Yeah.
Start adding them up over 4.
It burns you out after a little while.
And now we run twins all the time. We still run 18, 20 races a year.
Yeah.
Even with the twins. So, and back then you figured twin races and all. And then we went dirt racing a little bit. We'd run Dixieland on Friday and Virginia Raceway on Saturday. So, you know, you're running a lot. That was like every week.
Yeah. HRKC.
All right. Well, we appreciate Craig coming out and being with
Yes,
us
sir.
tonight. It's always an honor to have you with
Yeah.
us. So
Yeah, man, I appreciate
come out
it.
here and give us your experience and things you got
Yeah.
going on, and we'll get you back again and get you talking. Maybe we'll get you back for Martinsville. You can tell us a little bit about
Okay.
what you're doing to
Yeah.
prepare for
We're trying to
Martinsville.
put everything together for that right now. We'll sit down and talk to our sponsors about what we need to go there and compete and do it. And I think motels are more expensive than the tires this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, they are.
Man, but you just got to budget it. You got to break everything down, and you got to figure out how much money you're going to be given from your sponsors and what you got to do, and put the money aside. I do all the managing on that part of it, and keeping up with it, paying for it.
All right. Well, that's about it for our show tonight. Want to thank Craig, like I said, and then we also want to thank Stephen Marlazik for that.
Mr. Pizza Delivery.
Yeah, man. I mean, that story was unbelievable to hear. But anyway, next week's show, I know Lacey Hall's going to be here next week, and
Oh yeah, I heard. I was told I got to be nice to her.
yeah, and Fast Eddie is going to be with us next week too, so that's a big deal too. All right, so that's our show for tonight. We'll see
is
you.
little man coming too next week?
Who?
The little kid.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Jason, yeah, what's
Jason.
Chase Rogers.
Jason Rod, he'll be here next week too.
Oh, it's gonna be a party.
He is a trip.
He is the coolest kid, man.
I forgot about him being here with us next
Yeah,
week.
he came up to Jack and was like,
What you want?
No, he did. He come up to me and goes, and I'm thinking,
Standing up about as tall as you.
he's a little teeny fella, but he's funny as heck.
He's the funniest kid.
anyway, that'll be our show next week. And we'll see everybody.
She's the reason why he's bringing
Oh.
barbecue.
Also, let's go ahead and I'll let you mention the golf tournament.
Yeah, I don't even know when that is. I'm like a dummy. Dave Millard's golf tournament for raising money for some of his stuff. Let's see. It is Friday, September 27th. You can hit Corey or Jordan, any of them up for sponsorship, whole sponsorship, $70 a man, $100 a whole sponsor. You can have multiple people on one hole. So get you a team up or sponsor a hole. It's all for a good cause for the Dave Millard 4th annual golf tournament, Friday, September 27th.
So let's see if we can get everybody out there. Danny Millard. Hey, there's the real superstar of Langley racing.
Oh yeah.
Danny
We
Millard.
know.
Danny Millard. That he's Craig, he's my hero, Danny Millard.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched him race? He races them. He raced those carts back then,
The wing champ.
Wing champ carts. And I tell you what, one night he was going down that back straightaway. He just blew by. Who was it?
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank all the time.
Chief's son, Leach.
Yeah.
Aaron Leach.
Leach.
Aaron Leach. He just blew by Aaron Leach like Aaron pulled over and let him go. But it didn't. He just blew right on by. Won the race. So we've always said Danny Millard is
He's the first annual of the.
yeah, he's the
Driver of the
very
week.
first driver of the week we ever had.
Wow.
So,
He was just lucky that week.
he's something. He's something. He's been promising me to come on this show,
Has he?
off and on, and I've not seen him yet.
Mhm.
So,
I hear him go by every once in a while and by the shop. He beeps the horn when he's.
so he don't stop talking to you either?
Sometimes.
Uh,
I got to put a sticker on his truck. He needed something, so he had to.
all right. We'll see you all again next week. Thanks for being with us. Adam, glad to have Adam with us and with his Pit Road Roundup.
We'll have another one next week.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.